Episode 3, The Deep, opens with the usual recap of earlier episodes and then shifts to show us Barclay, Russell Tovey, and a group led by General Pierce, Colin McFarlane, heading for HM Naval Blackport. Once there, Barclay's team of diplomats receive a lot of training, a lot of lecturing, and a lot of physical fitness tests. It's only once these are done and complete that the group are taken to a ship in the midst of the Atlantic Ocean over the Romance Trench, and a ship that's home to SU-1, the submersible that will take Barclay's Hodgepodge group of
It's 1350.
diplomatists down to salt people on their own territory. That group includes, amongst others, Ravi, who's a nervous junior Indian diplomat, and Ted, the only one of the team who's thought to bring a gift for Aquakine. Back on the surface, the extremely worried Kate Lethbridge-Stewart has attended a high-level meeting of the UK's cabinet, only to find two things. One, the Prime Minister Harry Shaw, Vincent Franklin, has a cabinet that is alarmingly paranoid and suspiciously warlike. Two, she also finds that Colonel Ibrahim is deeply concerned about her. Kate is both his boss and his lover, and as far as he's concerned, is pushing herself too damn hard. The Colonel's only options is to suggest that while they wait for Barclay's team to surface in 24 to 48 hours' time, Kate must take some time off. What neither of them know is what Ted has planned, what the PM is being persuaded of, or quite what that little red dot pointing at Kate's forehead actually is. Episode 3, The Deep, opens with the usual recap of earlier episodes and then shifts to show us Barclay, Russell Tovey, and a group led by General Pierce, Colin McFarlane, heading for HM Naval Blackport. Once there, Barclay's team of diplomats receive a lot of training, a lot of lecturing, and a lot of physical fitness tests. It's only once these are done and complete that the group are taken to a ship in the midst of the Atlantic Ocean over the Romance Trench, and a ship that's home to SU-1, the submersible that will take Barclay's Hodgepodge group of
It's 1350.
diplomatists down to salt people on their own territory. That group includes, amongst others, Ravi, who's a nervous junior Indian diplomat, and Ted, the only one of the team who's thought to bring a gift for Aquakine. Back on the surface, the extremely worried Kate Lethbridge-Stewart has attended a high-level meeting of the UK's cabinet, only to find two things. One, the Prime Minister Harry Shaw, Vincent Franklin, has a cabinet that is alarmingly paranoid and suspiciously warlike. Two, she also finds that Colonel Ibrahim is deeply concerned about her. Kate is both his boss and his lover, and as far as he's concerned, is pushing herself too damn hard. The Colonel's only options is to suggest that while they wait for Barclay's team to surface in 24 to 48 hours' time, Kate must take some time off. What neither of them know is what Ted has planned, what the PM is being persuaded of, or quite what that little red dot pointing at Kate's forehead actually is. So, what did I make of The Deep? Of a middle episode of a set of 5, one that has a different pace to the first 2 episodes, and that had me doing a double take at least once. The double take was a minor character reveal. There is at least one unit officer in this series called Captain Gates, G-A-I-T-Z, played by John Addison and pronounced Gates as in Bill Gates. When the character was first addressed, I misheard the name Captain Gates as Captain Yates, as in Captain Mike Yates, the classic Doctor Who character played by the late Richard Franklin. I'm glad I had the subtitles on, I know that much, and I'm wondering 3 things I should say as a result. Firstly, how thankful should I be for the subtitles? Secondly, was that rhyme a deliberate choice by the episode's writer, Pete McTighe? And 3, is there a Sergeant Fenton hanging around? I have no idea. So that's one thing that caught. Another was the comparatively slow pace of The Deep. Slow pace, I say? Yes, it's got a slower pace than the two earlier episodes, or possibly it's changed gear somewhat rather than slowed the pace, if that makes sense. Either way, I think the reason for this slowness is quite simple. The nature of the episode means we're getting a lot of Barclay and Company's underwater trip, getting a lot of them going ever so slowly underwater. Yes, the episode is slow, but it is still well told. In the minutes we're shown of the trip, of that submersible journey, we're shown 6 people trapped in a very small space where every lurch of the ship is magnified, where every drip of a drop of water is a possible oncoming disaster, and every noise is potentially a sign of sudden implosive doom. Yes, this has changed gear this episode, but yes, it's done so in a way that keeps the tension ratcheting up. There are other things in this story, no less of which is the equally tense surface situation. This second plot thread shows us the struggles of Kate Lethbridge Stewart. One element to that is simply the fact she's had to lead UNIT's diplomatic efforts against a government whose leader seems sympathetic, but who listens more to his paranoid cabinet than he does to Kate Lethbridge Stewart. Sympathetic, I hear you ask. Yes, I'd say so. The way Vincent Franklin plays the PM shows Harry Shaw seemingly to be sympathetic to Kate and to UNIT. At least that's how I judged his face, if not his voice. It's telling us Prime Minister Shaw is more sympathetic to her plans than he can say, but right now he's caught between the devils and the deep blue sea, caught between warlike plans that seem to make sense on one hand and economic doom on the other. On the personal side of Kate's coins is Colonel Ibrahim, a lover and aide-de-camp. The relationship is very well played in this particular episode. In one early scene, we see the Colonel advising Kate in a way few others could and telling her that she needs rest. Barclay's negotiations will give her the time to get the sleep she so badly needs. In a later scene, we see the effect their relationship is having on Colonel Ibrahim himself, as he tells her he hates having to hide it from others. Now, that fact struck a chord with me, as no doubt it will with others. I think there's many of us in forbidden relationships, for want of a better term, whether those relationships are mixed-race partners, same-sex partners, or partners from two different religious traditions, who are going to have to hide those relationships from someone and are going to hate having to do that. So I'm sympathetic to how the Colonel feels there, but I'm also aware that in most of the jobs I've been in, the relationships between staff, especially senior manager and a junior one, are frowned upon, if not outright contractually forbidden. They can have positive aspects, certainly morale, productivity, what have you, but also have potential downsides. Harassment claims, disciplinary issues, unfair advantage for the junior partner. The list could probably go on. My point highlighting this is simply this. It's simply that much of the discussion I've seen about the war between the land and the sea tells me it's a series grounded very much in the real world, showing us a loving relationship where both partners are workmates who know they have to be careful because they are lovers is just one of the roots the show has in the real world. There is other stuff we could discuss here. One particular thing is that relationship between Kate and Colonel Ibrahim, or at least one specific scene. The one early on where the Colonel is telling Kate to get some rest, or otherwise he will give her a meaningful look. Do you watch Star Trek at all? I do, and find that the various Star Trek series are something of a favourite. My current one is Strange New World, which is looking really rather good. There is a scene we see in at least once in every series of every franchise series where the ship's doctor, Bones, Beverly Crusher, Dr. Culber, et al. Tells the commanding officer to take a break or I'll declare you unfit for duty. I don't think Dr. Mabenga's done it yet, but there's still 2 or 3 series of Star Trek Strange New Worlds to go. At any rate, it happens a lot. It happens often enough to be a spottable trope. Any given Starfleet ship, the CMO, the Chief Medical Officer, can declare the ship's captain medically unfit and turf him or them or her temporarily out of the big chair. That is what...
It's 16:45.
That is exactly what Colonel Ibrahim was doing in this particular scene. He was making sure, for the safety of the ship, of UNIT in this case, that the captain, Kay, got some rest. Otherwise it's a holiday on Risa. At any rate, the other thing I spotted, or tripped over possibly, was telescoped at about the 8th minute when Barclay notices a box that Ted Campbell is carrying, and when he asks Ted what's in it, Ted shows him. It's an ornamental wooden globe of the Earth that shows both land and sea. I literally thought, at that 8th minute, when I saw that globe, I sat there, I looked at it and thought,
I bet you that's a bomb.
Isn't it? Literally, I thought, it's a bomb. It's got to be. Lo and behold, at the end of the episode, the timer on this oh-so-innocent globe starts ticking. Telescoped? Chekhov's gun? Telescoped? I should bloody well say so. What else could I tell you about this episode? One thing that struck me was Ted Campbell, the diplomat with the bomb, who's played by an actor called William Gamanara, Gamanara, who I have to confess I don't know much about, beyond the fact that his character's accent sounded South African to me. Now, as Gamanara was born in Lusaka, in what's now Zambia, I am assuming he based the character's accent on ones he heard as a child. I don't know for sure, but that's my assumption. I'll tell you more if I hear more. What else can I tell you? At the start of The Deep, General Pierce leads the training of the diplomatic team of Barclay's little group of diplomatists at a fictional base called HM Naval Blackport. Now, the picky part of me saw that and thought, well, that is wrong for a start, because unless this is a unit naval base, it should be named in line with British Royal Navy usage and tradition. In other words, it should be named and treated as if it was a Royal Naval ship, and therefore called HMS Blackwood, His Majesty's ship Blackwood. The tradition's an old one that dates back several centuries and sees that kind of base known as stone frigates. In other words, they're land bases where maritime law applies rather than any land base equivalent. That's my picky point. Another minor one to go with it is simply that this week's episode started with a title card to let viewers know there was a UHD or 4K version of both episodes on the BBC iPlayer if you had a compatible set. Now, I have to admit, I wouldn't mind seeing that, purely and simply because the scenes of the Aqua assembly looked absolutely superb on my 2K screen, and I'm willing to bet they actually looked better in 4K. What can I tell you? Just as an extra thought here, a memory occurs to me that in the early days of the new series, when they reintroduced UNIT, they had plans to keep the acronym standing for what it had in the classic series as United Nations Intelligence Task Force, UNIT, UNIT. Except, of course, the fact was that the United Nations themselves gently tapped the BBC on the shoulder and said, look, we'll be honest, we're not happy with a science fiction show having or claiming to have anything to do with us. Can you change the name of the group? The series didn't, but changed the acronym from United Nations Intelligence Task Force to Unified Intelligence Task Force. Now, I don't know if this has got anything to do with the fact that the naval base is called HM Naval Blackpool, but I'm willing to bet that that might be something to do with it. They've called it HM Naval Blackpool because the Royal Navy has tapped them on the shoulder and said, don't call it HMS, whatever. We'd rather you didn't. Whether that's true, whether it's not, I don't know, but I thought I should mention it. So, what did I think of The Deep? Of an episode whose very smooth, slow, and far more tense pace made it very watchable. Of an episode whose pace and smoothity and slowness gave it no less power than earlier episodes. What did I think of part 3, whose two-pronged cliffhanger had me on the edge of my metaphorical seat? What did I think of The Deep? I've got to say it, I loved it. And it's left me wanting to catch the 4th episode as soon as I possibly can. That, ladies and gentlemen, is where I'm going to leave things, at least for now. I will also leave you with my thanks for watching this video or for reading the written version on Knickknacks Old Peculiar, if that's what you've done. I will also tell you I'll have my reviews of episode 4, The Witch of the Waterfall, up by Friday the 19th of December, hopefully, this coming Friday. But before I go, I will ask you to subscribe to this channel, Mr. Cuddy2977, and follow my blog, Knickknacks Old Peculiar. I will also tell you that if quizzes are your thing, I've been publishing the daily teaser quiz for several years now, and I'm planning to write and publish more of them alongside more TV and film reviews. Please feel free to keep watching, keep your eyes peeled on this channel, feel free to tip, that'll be in the corner if I've got it right, and I will see you the next time I see you. Have fun, take care, be good, and whatever you do, be seeing you.